regardless. So this is years too late, but the Overwatch 2 beta is coming soon, so I wanted to get out my final thoughts for all the original Overwatch heroes. Obviously, all of these heroes are going to carry over into Overwatch 2, I would imagine. But I never made one of these for Overwatch, and I wish I would have a long time ago, but we're doing it now, in 2022. So obviously, I'm going to try to be as unopinionated as I can, because there's obviously champions that, you know, people like and don't like more than others, and people think are more viable and whatnot. So I'm just going to go based off everything, what I've played and what I've seen. So yeah, let's get into it. And obviously, of course, please let me know down in the comments what you guys think, what you would switch, who you would want to see up, down, or all around. And let me know. But we'll just, I guess we'll start in order. Ana, I would have to put her, I think she's an A tier support unit. I think the amount of healing she can do is definitely up there. But also, a lot of the support units can't always defend themselves very well, and I feel like she's one of them that kind of can. She can heal herself, she can sleep dart you, and she does pretty okay damage. And some of the other support units, such as like Mercy, Zenyatta, kinda Lucio here and there. Lucio's more just hard to kill. And Brig I don't really like, but we'll get into everybody else. But I think Ana's a solid overall support unit. She can, for the most part, defend herself, especially if she gets jumped on by, you know, like a Winston or a Diva. At least try to sleep dart them. And the fact that her healing grenade, you know, I think she's good because her gun and her healing grenade is both, like, I don't want to say offensive, defensive, but it's offensive on both sides, if that makes sense. So, you know, shooting, she's either going to heal somebody or damage somebody, and same with the healing grenade. It's going to do both. So I think that's a huge factor for her in being good. Ashe, I almost want to put Ashe at S. I think she's one of the best DPS carries for sure. Her burning with the dynamite is insane. She can go close and far range. And her, yeah, I think I'm gonna put her S. I think she's a S tier DPS unit. Bob, her ultimate is arguably one of the best in the game, just as far as killing people, causing disruptions, and even, you know, holding down an objective or something like that. And the amount of damage that she can put out, whether she switches to kind of like her sniper shot or just, you know, close range fast fire, is a lot. And that's not including her dynamite again. Baptiste, I think I'm going to put him in B. I think he's honestly only viable healing tanks well. His whatever field that he puts up where you can't die can definitely save you. And the fact that he can heal himself is good, but I just don't see him. He's very difficult, not necessarily to use, but it's a lot harder to consistently get healing from him because the healing is more of just area effect and not direct, like an Ana shot or something. So his healing is very slow. I think he can do at least as much maybe as Ana would, but I think he's just not necessarily the best. You know, if I'm seeing or choosing two support units to have on my team, he's really just not it for me. He's not like a huge factor. His ultimate, honestly is a little underwhelming. I don't. It has to be placed so well at such good timing that it's pretty. I guess just underwhelming again is just the best word for it. And it doesn't. To me, it doesn't make a difference in a fight. It's not up for long enough. And yes, you do more damage, but honestly, half of the heroes in Overwatch don't have something that can effectively shoot through his window, I guess you could call it. Bastion, I'm also going to put in B. I think Bastion can be a very, very good unit or can be a very, very terrible unit depending on everyone's comps. I think when it used to count for, way back in the day when it used to count for a DPS done, as him breaking Reinhardt's shield, that counted as damage. I think that was probably when he would be S tier. Everybody hates that Reinhardt in front with the Bastion behind, especially on like a payload, and even more so with a Torbjorn turret in that mix as well. He is very sustainable himself. He can just walk around, shoot his gun, and that's okay. And the fact that he can heal himself in any form is good as well. Obviously, not using his ult. His ultimate is very good as well. Can pretty much, I think it can one-shot any 200 health unit if you direct impact. But obviously his main form is his turret. I think the only bad thing is that if you don't have somebody to kind of help you, Reinhardt, Erisa, something to set up, then it's very hard to find a good spot to quickly sit down and mow people down. Because obviously the further you are away in your turret form, the less damage you're doing. So I think he can be moved up or down, so I just kind of have to put him in B. Brig I have to put in C. I don't honestly think anybody's going to be in D tier for any of these champs. Obviously they have their own, whatchamacallits. But I think Brig is just not. The only way she is viable is if you can put enough time or have someone on your team that has put enough time into her to where she can get that good spam DPS shield where she's, hitting you with the shield bash and hitting her with the, I use left bumper, I don't know what it would be, but the long distance flail to knock you away and whatnot. And she just, to be able to effectively heal your team, she's just not it. I think if it is a double capture point, she can be good and be a lot more useful. But again, when you're thinking, okay, if it's a double capture point and everybody's going to be on the capture point, are you trying to choose Brig or are you going to go someone like Lucio that has area effect healing? Like, yes, Brig has area effect healing, but she has to be doing damage. And honestly, in a 1v1 swinging, most of the time she probably is going to lose the fight depending on who she's swinging against. Which again, if she has the shield bash and the flail and whatnot, then it might be a little bit of a different fight, or at least keep her sustained. But I just don't. For a supportive unit, she does not do enough healing to the team. She's more of just like a tank support. If you have, two kind of squishier tanks like Winston, or, if you're kind of running a dive comp and you need somebody more to hold, then, you can choose her as the support just to kind of be a little bit of an off tank. Which honestly, in fairness, she is like a off-tank support, which there isn't another one of those. So you can, obviously say that she's very viable for that. But honestly, like, there's just other better supporting units for the team. Doomfist, I have to put at C as well. C as well. Again, I think if you can find or be good enough to use him very well. He can be super effective, probably A tier at least. The problem is he's honestly, I don't want to say too squishy because he's kind of not, but it's hard to consistently get shield and try to combat the cooldowns of all of his abilities and stuff. And his ult is pretty easy to get away from. Most of the time you know where he's going to ult already, and then you obviously can see him coming down. And I know that they nerfed the time of him. You know, you only have literally probably 1 to 2 seconds to move away from it, but honestly that's enough time for most people. I think he can be very effective, you know, if you kind of need a tank buster or somebody, you know, a very good disruptor. There you go, he's there. But as far as being a DPS unit, I don't think he's really the move. I mean, he can one-shot some 200 health people if he, you know, hits you with a full glove into a wall, for sure. Or at least get you very close and then finish you. But again, as far as who do you want for more DPS, depending on the map and the game mode, I wouldn't say he's up there. I know that in Overwatch 2 they have confirmed that he's going to be a tank, which I think is definitely more of his role. Because he can get a whole lot of shield and be a very good tanking DPS. But I think his damage is too inconsistent to be able to put him higher. Maybe B at the best. Unless, you know, again, obviously some people are amazing with any of these heroes, and we've all played against people that are amazing with each hero, you know, just absolutely wipes you and or your team. But I think overall as a DPS unit, he's not the most reliable. D.Va, I'll have to put in B. I think at one point, I think it was season 2 and 3, where she was so OP. Not so much for me because I was a Zarya main, so I was just ripping through all these wannabe D.Va mains. But I think where she's at now, she's just not what she used to be. The DPS is not there. She's solid, especially if you're running a dive comp, and her, you know, black hole ability essentially is probably one of the best abilities in the game, because anything that goes through there is being eaten alive. But she's not what you would choose, in my opinion. She's still solid, depending on the other tank, and depending on, you know, map game mode and everything. But overall, tank damage, there's more people. And if you want somebody that needs to tank damage, again, there's better people. So I think it's just not her. Echo, I have to put a C as well. She's just way too inconsistent. I think somewhat how I have felt at times, and I'm sure most people have felt at times with Farah's fly. It's just not enough flyability, and she has even less than Farah. And honestly, the only thing that's good on her is the balls that she shoots. Her regular primary fire is weak. And her, you know, little beam can be okay, but it lasts too short, and you trying to use it on a unit, you're pretty much gonna just end up losing the fight most of the time. You know, if it's literally 1v1 against a lot of people, it's gonna be hard to like do enough beam damage to kill them. Again, I think it's just her balls definitely carry her. I would honestly probably put her in D if it wasn't the fact that she could kind of fly. Now her ultimate is pretty interesting, switching over to another unit and being able to get their ult very quick. That's a very viable thing. The problem is that if you're not hitting your balls that she shoots, then she's just not going to get her ultimate fast enough, and it is a slow ultimate. regen anyway. And again, you know, if you're the damage role, there's better units and at least more viable ones to help your team. Genji, I have to put in B. I think he's very good at what he is supposed to do. He's supposed to be basically a little fly on the wall buzzing around. You know, he can dash. Anytime he gets a kill or helps with a kill, he can dash again. He's very mobile. His DPS is decent. Obviously, if he gets in trouble, he has a deflection. His ultimate is very good at killing people, especially, you know, lower health units. And, you know, if you have like a Zarya ult and stuff like that, it's very good to use him. I think he at times can carry. I think the reason he's not higher is because he is too inconsistent. Depending on what your team is running and what the enemy team is running, he's very easy to combat. And again, especially on map and game mode as well, it makes a big difference. But I would say he's a solid mobile DPS unit that can win you games, but can also probably lose some. Hammond, as much as I hate this little rat ball, I probably have to say he's an A tier unit. I think he is easily the most mobile tank aside from maybe D.Va. I mean, Winston can jump, sure, but he's way more mobile than I would say D.Va and Winston combined equal Hammond as far as mobility as a tank. He's super hard to kill, and we've all seen the Hammond on the payload and shit just fucking circling around. I hate him personally. I hate playing as him. I hate playing against him, but I definitely respect what he can do as far as winning or sustaining a game. But not for me. Just can't stand him. I also cannot stand Hanzo either. Probably, I would say these Hammond and Hanzo are probably my least favorite two heroes for sure. The problem is I don't know where to put Hanzo. I have to put him... He might be A. I'm going to put him at B a little bit, mostly because I just fucking hate the guy. I feel like his ability as far as the scatter arrow or the other arrow has been so inconsistent since day one. The original scatter arrow could literally kill a full health Zarya if you hit it right, which is ridiculous. And then the new, I don't remember what they call the new whatever arrows. Those honestly were better to me, but still annoying. And now apparently, which I haven't played since then, I don't know if it's actually true, but apparently now the new like arrow shots for that ability can also bounce and scatter, so that I would not play it. As far as actual DPS though and ultimate, he is good. He can definitely you know, one shot headshot some squishies and make a huge difference in the team. And he has a little bit, he's not very defensive. I don't think if somebody's jumping on him, going around him, unless he hits his shots, he's gonna die, or at least for the most part lose the fight without, if he's not being healed or anything. But overall solid. Again, better DPS units out there, but a solid choice. Junkrat I have to put in A, mostly due to the fact that now I feel like he's received so many minor buffs that he is what he should have been since day one. I think the amount of damage this guy can dole out, especially against shield comps, is insane. Easily probably the best tank killer in the game, one of them for sure. Can easily kill anybody that's not a tank with no problem. I think the buffs as far as him not taking damage from himself, the double concussion mine, has really skyrocketed him since original, Overwatch Day 1 times. He just does so much damage and can really hold his own by himself, as well as just really disrupt the enemy team. His ultimate is obviously very good. Killable, sure, but if you do it right, you can at least get a few, and even if you just get one, at least it's another person off the board. And the martyrdom, if you kill him, he drops some grenades, and we've all gotten some kills or been killed by the martyrdom Junkrat. So that's just another little buff to him. Lucio, I'll probably have to put Lucio in A. I kind of want to put him in B, but original Lucio I would probably 100% keep in A, no doubt. Maybe even S. That area effect was huge. Obviously they did nerf it, and you can see it now, and it's a lot smaller, but it's still very good. Somebody that can literally affect the entire team and himself, healing in this area, and even boosting it up to where you're healing more or more of it. As well as speed boost your team can be viable at times as well, or at least speed boost him back into the fight. His ultimate giving that much health can definitely win you some games and fights as well. I think he's a solid overall unit. Obviously his little sonic push can be annoying on certain maps as well, so that's just a fun little spot. As far as damage done, as a support unit, he's probably one of the worst, but I think him being able to, I would argue that he's probably the best at keeping himself alive. So him just literally holding the attack button and keeping himself alive, he can at least be a lot helpful in the damage department as well, but I would still put him on the lower tier of it. But still overall good. If you need a support carry, he's one of them for sure. Mccree, I would put Mccree probably in A as well. I think if you are good enough to hit your shots, he's very good. I think the stun is very, very helpful at stopping ultimates, at stopping, mobile units, at just literally, stunning people so they have to sit there and take a lot of damage for a few seconds as well. His ultimate is good, sometimes can be, moved away from and stuff, but overall can at least kill squishy units very quickly, and can definitely wipe a whole team for sure. I would just say overall very solid damage unit, and obviously if you have people like Farah or Echo or somebody that's up in the air and stuff, he's one of the best at taking them out with a high damage output for that. And the only other person I would put up there for that is probably Soldier. If you can hit your Hanzo shots, sure, but those Soldier and Mccree are the best for taking out flying units. Now you could say Widow, but she's a lot less mobile than others. Alright, Mei. So Mei is literally the only Overwatch hero that has never been in any meta. But we all know she is arguably the scariest Overwatch hero in the game. The fact that she freezes people, she can snipe some people with some long-range icicles, she can heal herself, her ultimate can literally freeze the entire team and sit there and kill them. She can create walls, which are sometimes very, very annoying and frustrating playing with or against. But honestly, an overall solid unit. She, as far as damage, no, but she can definitely disrupt and peel for you. And, the fact again that she can heal herself, wall up, and everything, it can definitely be some difference makers in some fights, and again, her ult is very solid. I think she's just a solid unit. Now, again, as far as, you know, the damage she is going to put out, it is not going to be up there, but you'll definitely get some peel ability, especially on some squishy units, or even if you just freeze their tanks and stop them and make them take a whole lot of damage, then that's good as well. Mercy, oh whoops, you know that's always got to happen, right? Now I was a Mercy main when she had her ultimate as rezzing the whole team. I would have put her in S then. I think I have to put her in A now just because they took that away. I honestly might still put her in S. I think she's probably the best solo healer in the game as far as consistency. Her only primary goal is to heal. I mean, obviously that's all support mains, but her being able to just sit there and hold the attack button to heal up units is insane. The damage boost is very good. The ultimate now honestly isn't too bad, but you know, when I was the Mercy main, her ult could, you know, res the entire team. That was S tier Mercy. Unfortunately, she's not that anymore. And then she can still revive people now. I don't think it's enough or as often as it should be or anything like that, but you know, it is what it is. Still, if you need somebody to straight heal, she is arguably the best in the game to do it. The second best I would probably have to say is Moira. Now she is a S tier unit, even if you're decent with her. I personally cannot play her. I don't like her. Do I want her on my team? Absolutely. Do I want to play against her? No. Do I want to play as her? No. But as far as easily the highest damage support unit, maybe Zenyatta could compete. That's the closest one that could compete as far as damage with Moira. Healing can be the most for sure if you're doing enough damage. Now, if you're not doing enough damage, her healing is going to go significantly down. Her ultimate is very good, can literally touch every unit in the game through everything, no matter what. Solid ultimate. Overall solid champ. You know, this support too, right here, your team's never gonna die, except to maybe some ultimates. You know, like those are some solid peeps. Orisa's difficult. I think Erisa is A, and the reason why I had to think about it is because I probably was going to put her in B, but I think what solidified her spot in A for me is honestly just her Fortify. Her DPS is pretty solid. Again, especially for a tank, she's probably the highest damage tank in the game, except maybe Roadhog. If you can get, you know, full energy Zarya, then that's a little different. Some others might be able to compete, but as far as overall consistently DPS, she can be up there. She's probably the most damaging tank in the game. She does have a shield, which is huge. You know, that puts her in the running for, you know, Reinhardt, even though it's less than half of his shield. Her halt, her little orb, can make a difference sometimes, but not enough. It's not a game changer. It's okay sometimes. Overall, not a huge difference. But I think the Fortify is her huge difference maker. Now, it may not seem like it, but the fact that she cannot be slowed, stunned, stopped in any type of way, moved, hooked, anything, I think is huge in this game. That takes away somebody using it. Now, you are using your ability, So ability for ability is fair, but the fact that, you know, if she starts being frozen by Mei's ult, she can walk right out of it. You know, if you hit the fortify well enough before Roadhog hook, a Reinhardt ultimate, you know, you can get out of a Zarya ultimate. It's a very, very solid ability, especially for a tank. And even, you know, just if you're taking a whole lot of damage and you're not getting healed at all or as much as you like to, that can definitely sustain you or keep you alive. So overall solid. Definitely not S tier, but I would say like A minus, you know, if there was extras in here. Farah, I have to put in A. I think she can, or I have to put in B. I think she can be an A, but a lot of her success depends upon what the enemy is running, what map it is, what game mode it is, and what healers you have on your team. I think she can, again, be an A tier unit. The little concussion blast, not the most useful on certain maps, absolutely, you know, just like the Lucio blast. Damage, though, can definitely do very well. You know, if you can get some distance and fly up in the air, you can easily kill, you know, sit up Bastion without him doing very much damage to you at all. Definitely pound out some damage against some squishies, move Reinhardt around with some blast and damage and stuff. Overall solid unit. Her ult is very good as well. Again, like I said earlier, I don't think she can fly enough, and maybe it's just like I mained her for a little bit and I still don't think I could fly enough. Now, maybe again that's just me, and there's definitely been some Farahs that I don't understand how they're in the air for so long, but I think it also depends. She's very easily countered sometimes, unless she has Mercy, which that's, you know, Pharmacy. I'm sure most of you have heard that. That's Farah and Mercy. If she doesn't have that combo, I think Farah is pretty easily countered, you know, with Soldier, with Mccree, with Widowmaker, you know, even, you know, Torbjorn turret, maybe, you know, Tracer shooting up theirs and yada, you know, overall, the enemy can switch or even already have people that can pretty easily counter Farah. Now, Farah with Mercy, making Pharmacy is even harder to kill, even with those units that I just rattled off shooting at her. But I don't think I think she can be an A tier unit with the right comp on her team and against the right enemies. Reaper, man, I remember Reaper had to get souls back in the day, you know, on his kills, and it was only like 50. Now, I am a huge Reaper fan. He's my most played hero. I think I have to put him in A, and that's mostly because I honestly was going to put him in B, because I do think he can be somewhat stopped and countered and stuff. Maybe not necessarily countered is the right word, because I don't really think you can fully counter Reaper. But I think the biggest reason why I had to put him in A is because he can self-sustain. As long as he's doing damage, he's gaining health. His ultimate is arguably one of the best in the game, which I didn't talk about Orisa or really Farah's ult. Orisa's ult is can be a difference maker, not huge. Farah's ult, I kind of touched on it. It can be, again, a huge difference maker if you get it right. But I think the fact that she has stayed in one place, she can be taken out somewhat easily. But Reaper's ult is very good, can easily wipe a team if placed right. I think they've worked on his teleporting and stuff a lot throughout the entirety of the game. I think that's his biggest problem, is movement. Now being able to, you know, just kind of shadow his way in and out of fights is very good as well. But the amount of damage he can do, especially against, he's probably the best tank buster in the game, I would argue. And against anybody that isn't a tank, he's probably going to win the fight. Maybe not significantly, but most people, he'll probably just wipe them. But either way, again, the fact that when he is doing damage with his shotguns, he's gaining health based off the damage he's doing is very, very worthy. Very solid DPS unit, especially for like double capture point maps and stuff. Or even payloads kind of going off the beaten path, getting some picks and stuff. Reinhardt, we all know, is the best original and arguably one of the best in the game. You know, 2000 health shield. I think it's 2000. I didn't play enough Reinhardt, to be honest. I was more of a Zarya main for tanks, somewhat Roadhog. And then if it wasn't them, it was Mercy. And then if it wasn't her, then it was DPS. DPS is probably my last. But Reinhardt, solid, you know, if everybody's got Reinhardt on their team basically, every game, no matter what, you're never going to be mad having him on your team. Nobody's ever going to tell you to switch off of Reinhardt. Solid tank, can even honestly do a pretty good amount of DPS as long as you hit your fire strikes and your charges and stuff. His swinging does honestly very good too. As long as you have a decent healer, you're pretty much good. His Earth Shatter ultimate is very good as well, and honestly sets you up to get a free charge kill at least, or at least destroys the enemy team enough to where your teammates are picking them off also. But overall, yes, Reinhardt S tier for sure. Now Roadhog. Roadhog is a little difficult. I think I have to put him in A. I would honestly almost put him in S, but I think Roadhog, though he can, which originally when he would heal himself he would have to stand still, and then they changed that to where he could move while healing. That was a huge buff. I think he's probably the hardest tank to kill because he can heal himself and heal so much. The reason I can't put him in S, I think, is because he can take too much damage. Obviously, him healing himself gets his ult, which is a good ult. The fact that his hook is probably the most disruptive ability in the game consistently, and used to be able to hook through walls on a bunch of shit, probably still easily can. But I think if you... It's difficult because it's almost like he's supposed to take damage and heal himself and get his ult, which is fair. But I think sometimes that is hard to control as far as you're taking so much damage that someone like an Ana that can stop that. Like if you have the best counter to Roadhog is honestly Ana, because if you throw one bionic grenade at him, he's probably dead right after. You know, like that. Which, you know, obviously there's just one unit that would hard counter him, which is her. But I don't see him being an S tier unit. He's a solid unit, a solid A. But I just don't think I can put him in S because of the possible inconsistencies. Sigma, I would put Sigma A as well. His primary attack, not very damaging, but you can, you know, bounce it into rooms and stuff, which can get you at least some more damage, if not a cheeky kill. His rock throw is decent as far as disrupting or just getting some long distance hits. His shield is iffy. I don't think, as far as a shielding tank, I think Orisa is still better than him, and obviously Reinhardt is. I think the biggest reason he's an A is because of his ability where he's taking everything thrown at him and then creating shield as far as damage shot at him during that time. I think that's what put him in A, because that can give him a whole lot of health if you're to it or at him. Kind of like the opposite of D.Va. Instead of her just leading everything, he basically eats it all up and creates shield out of it. So yeah, his ultimate I don't think is very good. I think it's a very good disruption, but as far as killing people, I don't think it's made to kill people. I think it's made to just kind of disrupt the fight and maybe get some kills, but minimum take out a decent chunk of health and, you know, just create a giant disruption. Soldier, I have to put an S. You know, I feel like a ton of people that played Call of Duty, that was, you know, the go-to man from Call of Duty to Overwatch. Easily the most solid, consistent DPS in the game. Can heal himself, does heavy damage. His ultimate is literally auto aim, so you can't go wrong with it. As long as you hold down the attack button, you're doing damage. Can move pretty quick and in and out of fights, and again, you know, heal himself to keep himself alive if he's not getting heals. Does good damage with his primary fire. His rockets do some pretty heavy damage. Again, easily the best damage unit in the game as far as consistency and helpability and everything. Sombra is interesting. I have to put her in B because she can literally be moved up or down depending on how good the person is. Now, original Sombra, where you could hack the health pack and any teammate or yourself that would heal from the health pack would give her ultimate. That is probably A tier, if not S tier Sombra. Now, they did nerf that and just took it out, actually. But if you can get, as far as damage, she's not going to really be up there. But as far as the disruption between the hacks and the ultimate, she's probably the best in the game. Maybe not necessarily the best, but, you know, if you're playing with or against a good Sombra, it can really, really disrupt your team. Can get in and out of fights with the teleport. Hack health pack so enemies can't get it. Overall, just even if you're not the best or playing with or against the best Sombra, she's solid. And that's pretty much where she could be. Symmetra, they've switched her so many times. So many changes to her kit, her loadout, her ultimate. Her ultimate right now, honestly, just kind of stupid. The big fucking wall of shield. Like, yes, is it good, but, you know, I don't feel like it's a huge difference maker. Her teleport can be some cheeky kills and wins for sure, if you can get on the right map and right spot and whatnot, for sure. The little turrets are annoying, obviously, and can get some cheeky kills as well, but, you know, they're 1 health. As far as her damage, honestly, her damage, I feel like, has lessened from the original Symmetra that could, like, lock onto you like Moira does. But the beam is still good, and the more you hold it, the more damage you're going to do. The balls can be useful, you know, getting through shields and whatnot, so that's good. But overall, she just, you know, if you want a defending unit, just pick up Torbjorn, who we're getting ready to talk about. Pick up somebody else. Now, depending on the map and whatever, again, she's basically, if you're not on the right map with the right teleport spot, just don't even try to beat her. Torbjorn. Man, this guy used to own the plays of the games back in the day. Jesus. If he doesn't have his turret, it sucks. His ultimate has changed from making his turret insane to spreading lava all over the place. I honestly like the lava better. I feel like it is better. I just have to put him in B. I don't think he's an A or S tier. His turret can definitely make some differences, especially against someone like Farah or Echo who's up in the sky. It will do a whole lot of damage, or at least having some other unit or object that is shooting at someone or something, such as a shield, is honestly just helpful. As far as him shooting his gun and stuff, he's not really going to own anybody. And his other ability where he kind of heals himself is decent, but it goes away after a few seconds. Can definitely keep him alive, or at least run in there ult and get that. His ultimate, honestly, I like it, like I said, better now. I think it's good. Definitely a huge area effect of pretty high damage. Solid. One of the best defenders, I'll say, for sure. At least shutting down an area, but you know, you take out the turret, or if the turret's being taken out, then, you know, bottom tier. Tracer, I have to put in B. Arguably one of the most mobile. I would say between Genji and her is the most mobile units in the game. But honestly, if your Tracer is not good, or if you're not playing well and just healing units, she's not going to be super effective. She is difficult to kill, but she does have the least amount of health in the game. Her ultimate is good. You can obviously stick someone, but unless it's a Zarya ult, you're basically only going to kill one, maybe two people if they're standing too close. Like, you know, is one ult worth killing one person? Not necessarily all the time. And a Zarya ult, Zarya, sorry, I keep saying Zarya because I've been playing TFT. Zarya, it can, you know, just wipe them out basically. But aside from that, you can't base it off one other person's thing. DPS output, okay. Can win you some games by just, you know, destroying people like Zenyatta or Mercy or any other backline support carries. But if you can't do that consistently enough, she's just not really the move. Widowmaker. Ugh, Widowmaker. I think I have to put her at C. I mean, really the only... If you're not hitting your snipes or your headshots, or your teammate isn't, or whatever, terrible. Her assault rifle, just regular primary fire without scoping in, not going to do a lot of damage. Her venom mine, very, very minimum damage. Her grapple can get her out of some fights sometimes, or at least get her in a good spot where she can snipe. Her ultimate, while useful occasionally, is probably, I would say, the most lackluster ultimate in the game, to be honest. Not really super needed, and honestly not super helpful all the time. The infrared, obviously, you know, like I said, can be helpful, but you know, not in a game like Overwatch. To me, it's not super helpful. So again, you know, if you're not really doing well sniping, or your teammate isn't, then, you know, it's basically you're going to get a one-shot kill, or you're not going to do anything, you know. Winston. Now, I used to have Winston where he was literally the suicide monkey. He was Harambe. Then they changed his headshot percentage and area down, made him a little bit more viable. Now, I had said originally for years he needs alternate fire, and of course then they decided to put it in Overwatch 2, which I'm fine with, but don't get it wrong. That was my fucking idea. Okay. His shield, not the best. I think he's just the best for fighting mobile characters. You know, if a Genji's bothering you, jump on him with Winston. Area effect, you know, Winston. Tracer, use a Winston. The damage he's going to put out is not going to be super high, but he can, honestly, you know, even trying to, you know, fuck up a Reinhardt a little bit, use Winston because it goes right through Reinhardt's shield and electrifies him. He's just a solid tank. Now, the biggest problem is who is going to be the other tank with him. I think that can play a huge factor whether or not he's higher or lower, as well as his healers. You know, like, again, okay, you know, if I'm running Farah and I have a Baptiste and Brig, like, I'm not going to be effective because I'm going to get killed pretty easily because I'm going to get no healing. If I have Farah and Pharmacy or Farah and Zenyatta, a lot more effective. Same with Winston. Depending on the rest of my team depends upon how good you do. Now, against other units, you know, that's different. I think he can somewhat... He's the best disrupting tank, I would say, as far as maybe not Roadhog's hook. But other than that, I'd say he's probably the most disrupting tank other than Hammond's dumbass ball swinging around. Ultimate, honestly, kind of just a bait. Maybe can save you from dying. Maybe can push people off the payload or whatever to make it move, or push people off the plane to make it capped or whatever, but whatever. Zarya, I have to put an A minimum. I think for a long time she was slept on, especially during the season, I think it was 2, 3, or 4 or something, where D.Va was owning the game, and I was running Zarya, just ripping through all these wannabe D.Va mains, like I said. Her beam can never be stopped. You just put the bubble on yourself when you're taking damage, put the bubble on a big ass tank when they're taking damage, and your beam is going to be even insane, more effective, more killing. Has alternate fire where you can at least kind of get a little bit of range to her, and I would argue she has one of the best ults in the game. I mean, everybody's wet dream as far as a DPS is Zarya's ult. I mean, Genji, you want a Zarya ult. Zarya, god damn it, I keep saying Zarya because I'm playing TFT. Zarya, Tracer, Zarya ult. Junkrat, Zarya ult. You know, even some of the other people, you know, Ashe or even Mei, you know, just keep them in a fucking circle. Reaper, huge. You know, so many people benefit. Even just throwing like a Widowmaker mine in there, or Ashe Dynamite or something. Like, Zarya's ult is probably the best in the game. Especially helping others use their ultimate to full effect. Oh my god, we've all been in the Zarya ult when Hanzo uses his ult. And then last is my robot boy Zenyatta. I would say he probably can have the highest DPS out of any support unit. Again, I think maybe Moira can top that. I think his ult is very, very solid, can keep him and his team alive. You know, if you get caught in the Zarya ult and you're caught in it with the Zenyatta and he ults, your whole team stays alive. Anytime you're ulting with Zenyatta, you or your teammates pretty much just will not die. I think I have to put him in A. Now, he can be killed pretty easily, I think. You know, if one Tracer jumps on him, he's pretty much dead. If anybody jumps on him, he's kind of dead. But as long as he can sit behind some people and get a little bit of, you know, tank support help when he can dish out hella damage. The Discord makes your DPS units insane. And again, his ultimate pretty much has immunity for yourself 100% of the time, but then for others for 99% of it as well. So probably, you know, again, one of the best ultimates in the game. A lot of DPS. His healing overall is okay. I think he is successful, probably the most successful in dive comp healing because, you know, Farah up in the sky, not too many people can hit her consistently. He just has to, you know, toss his ball up there. Winston, if he jumps over something, you know, throw him a ball. He's fine for a little bit. Genji, same thing. I think he's the best mobile dive comp healing support consistently. And again, highest damage. But let me know what you guys think. Who you guys would move around. Obviously, some people are going to be pissed off where I put some of their mains. Obviously, this is more of just my opinion, what I've ran into over all the years, what I played with, against, as, and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, honestly, any of these heroes could be an S tier and could be a C tier or a D even. But you know, this is overall. I would feel like this is the overall Overwatch experience as far as consistently. But again, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate it. Could have been here live on Twitch letting me know that I'm full of shit.